They are not sufficient faculties to know. Right now, this brain, I'm not trying to downgrade it, it's a fantastic thing. This brain is nothing without the five senses. It is these five agencies which are gathering information and feeding up this brain all the time, both every moment of your wakefulness and sleep, this is happening. If you walk from here to there, if somebody is wearing a strong perfume or something else, you may notice it, otherwise generally you may not notice. But if you walk from here to there, your olfactory cognition is taking in probably 200 different smells if you walk from here to there. It is just that you have not paid enough attention to decipher that, and your other faculties are overriding that. Suppose you did not have eyes, ears, nothing. If you shut them off for some time, you will see suddenly your nostrils become so very sensitive, you can just smell out how many people are there. If you bring your dog here, he almost knows how many people are here. He doesn't know just how humans smell. He knows individually distinct smell of each person that is here. We also have that because our neurological system is way more sophisticated than that of a dog, but there are other overriding factors which have diminished that. But if you wish, you can develop that to a certain level. So cognitive distinctions are there and cognitive confusion is there as you… what's that word about smell becomes a color and color becomes…
Synesthesia.
Something. Okay, whatever. No, it's anesthesia, synesthesia, something is lost, something is mixed up, like a drink. A man who is just out of the bar may feel that way, you know. Everything may become colorful or not colorful depending upon his mood on that day or what he had. So, these things are happening because you can impair these things or enhance these things with a little bit of chemical stimulation or injuries or diseases or… This is essentially a chemical soup. What kind of a soup is the question. So, our whole effort in the yogic system is how to keep it very equanimous and exuberant at the same time. The problem with most people is if they become equanimous, they become death-like. If they become exuberant, they keep flipping all the time. To be equanimous and exuberant means your sense organs and you can function in a certain way. You are vibrantly alive, but you're absolutely equanimous. If this one thing happens, suddenly your sensory perception will not be the limit for you. There are other dimensions of perception which will not come into one's experience unless there is a certain level of striving. For example, 200 years ago, I heard 97% of United States population was illiterate. Today, probably almost 100% literacy in the country. How does this happen? It's the infrastructure of schoolrooms and human infrastructure of teachers and many other things and books and whatever. If this infrastructure was not built, even today we would be in the same condition, isn't it? So similarly, for turning inward, there is no infrastructure. Few individuals may be doing it somewhere, but there is no large-scale infrastructure in the society as to look at life just as life, not as to how it is useful. Life need not be useful, it's a phenomena beyond our use. It is a phenomena to be experienced. We have come here to experience life, not to use life, isn't it so? Hello? We have come here to experience life, not about how to put this to use. This is not a work donkey.
I'm trying to understand this issue about knowing. So where we clearly have overlap in the way we go about it is wanting to know things, wanting to understand everything around us. But there's a sense in which we're not limited by our intellect because I have the opportunity to ride on the back of all the other humans on the planet and those that have come before me. It's a collective intellect that's now encoded on Wikipedia and in millions of books, and I have an opportunity to take experiences from across the world, places I've never been, ideas that I would have never thought of and so on, and feed all that in. So it's a much richer diet, first of all.
A much richer data.
It's a diet of data. I mean, it's what shapes my next thoughts, is what I've taken in.
No, it is just that today we have access to much larger data than maybe 100 years ago, all right? But still, we've already looked at this, it's still a minuscule, isn't it?
I agree. Compared to the whole cosmos, still minuscule. But it's moving in the right direction. The unslakable thirst for knowledge that humans have means that there's this ratcheting up each generation. So it's not that it is of course the case that I'm limited in my thoughts to the impressions that I've had, but I have a much bigger fire hose of impressions now that can build on the scaffolding of the generations before me, the things they've already figured out, so that I can start at the next level and
but
move
start
up.
at the next level for what? Towards what end?
That's a good question. I mean, it's toward the end of knowing in the way that science cares about knowing. So putting aside usefulness of technology, just the way that scientists ask questions. Richard Feynman, the physicist, said, science is like sex. Sometimes something useful comes out of it, but it's not why we're doing it. So it's a way of knowing, and it's a collaborative way of knowing, where we link arms across space and across generations as well to try to get somewhere.
I'm in no way trying to disagree with that or in any way discredit that, it's a tremendous effort. But I'm saying, if knowing is the purpose, because wanting to know, how much time and energy somebody is willing to dedicate to that may be questionable from person to person, but everybody wants to know, there's no question about that. But knowing everything by intellect, we will know the surface of everything, but never the real source of everything or the core of everything. Because the only the only doorway to our experience is this human mechanism. You don't know the world any other way than the way this one is projecting right now within itself, yes?
Agreed.
There is no other way. You don't know how that is, you only know the way it is happening within you, isn't it? I don't know how you are really, I only know the way your picture is right now projecting in my brain or my system and how I'm perceiving it. As you know, you have drilled holes into people's brains and impaired something and put electric current and whatever you've done. I'm not saying you as a person, I'm saying these things have been done. You'll definitely know, by interfering with a certain physical process, the whole perception could change. The world has not changed, but perception has changed, so in his experience, everything has changed. So that dimension of life is only useful for survival. When I say survival, everything that we're doing is survival. To survive better, to enhance our survival to a better status or in an enhanced way of survival process. But once you've come as a human being, it doesn't matter how well you survive, still it is not good enough, isn't it?